Hello everyone. Today we begin chapter 6 of our masterclass in clinical embryology. The topic is implantation. This lecture will take you step by step through the essential concepts you must know, both for your examinations and for your clinical practice. By the end of this session, you will have a clear, practical understanding of implantation, which is the cornerstone of a successful pregnancy. Implantation is the process where the early embryo, called the blastocyst, attaches and embeds itself into the inner lining of the uterus, the endometrium. This step is absolutely essential for establishing pregnancy. It usually happens about 6 to 10 days after fertilization. Successful implantation requires three things working together in harmony: a receptive endometrium, a healthy and competent embryo, and a synchronized communication between the two. Implantation does not happen in one single step. It progresses in three distinct phases. The first is called apposition. In this phase, the blastocyst makes a loose and temporary contact with the endometrial surface. The second is adhesion. Here, molecules on the surface of both the blastocyst and the endometrium, such as integrins and cadherins, help the embryo stick firmly. The third and final phase is invasion. The cells of the outer layer of the embryo, called trophoblast cells, begin to penetrate into the endometrium. They also start remodeling the maternal blood vessels called spiral arteries, which ensures proper blood supply for the developing pregnancy. The embryo actively sends signals to the endometrium to prepare it for implantation. One major signal is human chorionic gonadotropin, which is produced by the outer syncytial layer of the embryo and helps maintain the corpus luteum for progesterone production. The embryo also releases cytokines, such as interleukin-1 and leukemia inhibitory factor, that promote adhesion and allow the immune system to tolerate the embryo. Growth factors like vascular endothelial growth factor and epidermal growth factor encourage blood vessel formation and growth. Even tiny vesicles called exosomes, carrying genetic material and proteins, travel between embryo and endometrium to enhance communication. The endometrium is equally active in this dialogue. It develops structures on its surface called pinopods, which appear only during the receptive phase and mark the right time for implantation. The endometrium also presents adhesion molecules, such as integrins and selectins, which help the blastocyst attach securely. Hormones play a critical role. Estrogen first primes the endometrium, and then progesterone establishes the receptive state. Immune cells, such as uterine natural killer cells and regulatory T cells, help ensure that the mother's body does not reject the embryo. Implantation can only happen during a short period known as the window of implantation. In a regular 28-day menstrual cycle, this occurs between day 19 and day 23, which corresponds to the midluteal phase. This window is tightly controlled by progesterone. Doctors can measure endometrial receptivity using diagnostic tests. One example is the endometrial receptivity assay, which looks at gene expression. Another way is by checking markers like integrin alpha-V beta-3, HOXA10, and leukemia inhibitory factor. The trophoblast, which is the outer layer of the embryo, differentiates into three main types. The cytotrophoblast cells are the basic building units. The syncytiotrophoblast layer is formed when cytotrophoblasts fuse. This layer is responsible for producing human chorionic gonadotropin and for invading the endometrium. The extravillous trophoblast cells travel deeper into the mother's tissue to remodel spiral arteries. Proper differentiation of trophoblasts is essential for healthy placental development and normal pregnancy. An important part of implantation is the transformation of the maternal spiral arteries. They are converted into wide, low-resistance vessels that can provide a large amount of blood flow to the developing placenta. This remodeling is driven by signals such as vascular endothelial growth factor and placental growth factor, which promote new blood vessel formation. If this process goes wrong, It can lead to serious pregnancy complications such as preeclampsia and growth restriction in the baby. When implantation does not occur successfully, we call it implantation failure. If this happens repeatedly, it is termed recurrent implantation failure. Several conditions can cause poor implantation. These include a thin endometrial lining, scarring of the endometrium also called Asherman syndrome, and chronic inflammation of the endometrium. Different therapies are being studied to improve implantation, such as the use of platelet-rich plasma, granulocyte colony stimulating factor, and endometrial scratching. However, many of these treatments remain controversial and their benefits are still debated. Today, science is advancing our understanding of implantation. Time-lapse embryo imaging allows us to observe embryo development continuously without disturbing culture conditions. Artificial intelligence-based embryo selection is being explored to identify the best embryos for transfer. In women with recurrent implantation failure, immunotherapies such as intravenous immunoglobulin and steroids are sometimes considered. Research on stem cells is also showing promise in regenerating a damaged endometrium. To summarize, implantation is a highly coordinated, multi-step process. It depends on molecular communication between the embryo and the endometrium. The window of implantation is a limited but critical period when the endometrium is receptive. Failures in this process are linked to infertility, repeated implantation failure, and pregnancy loss. With modern diagnostic tools and therapeutic options, assisted reproductive technology is increasingly successful at improving implantation outcomes and supporting healthy pregnancies. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe for more educational content. If you want more videos on specific topics in obstetrics and gynecology, reproductive medicine and surgery, embryology or gynae endoscopy or any chapter in any book, leave your suggestions in the comments. Remember, stay curious, keep learning, and take care. Thank you.